Welcome back to the IBJJF podcast. My guest today is Bruno Bastos, and today we're going to review 2022. This was an absolutely incredible year for Jiu-Jitsu, for the IBJJF, for all the athletes. So, Bruno, thanks so much for joining me and for taking on this big task of talking about 2022.
Well, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Jeff, once again for the opportunity. Yeah, 2022 year in review. As we spoke before, for sure we're gonna have maybe some comments. Oh, you forgot this, you forgot that. Man, from the Europeans, and then even the Opens, I think before the Europeans in January, all the way to now. Too much, like not. There's never too much jiu-jitsu, but like a lot of matches. I think it's just impossible to remember everything, but I think we did a pretty good job on getting everything done, and then I hope everybody enjoy.
Yeah, we had all the major gi events, all the major no gi events. We also had two Grand Prix that had incredible matches, super fights, so much to cover. I thought we'd start with some of the standout athletes from 2022. I think when we
Hmm.
talk about some of the best performers this year, we have to mention Gabriele Pisagna. She was a double gold Grand Slam champion, undefeated in 2022, didn't lose a single match. I know you've watched a lot of Gabriele, as a lot of Jiu-Jitsu fans have.
Hmm.
What did you feel about her performance this year?
Uh, Gabriel is an incredible athlete. It's crazy to think that she's still in her early 20s, right? So no signs of slowing down. Like now, like really, then it comes to the point where like, because in one point she had rivals like girls that would like beat her, she would beat back, and then like, but right now, like, how long since she has lost the last time? I think 2020, maybe. And that's her very beginning as a black belt. So she keeps getting better. She knows how to play top, knows how to play bottom, how to finish fights, how like she's very well rounded. Like we haven't seen much judo, but really she doesn't need judo because if you don't pull her, she pulls you. So um, I'm excited to see 2023. I think has girls that are coming up on like colored belts that once they get to black belt, you're still gonna have like the experience factor and all this, right? But also I hope like we have Ana Vieira. I think was the last one that beat her in absolute at 2020 pens, so they haven't had a match since. Maybe someone like that, but like at the end, Gabi is being like really the queen of jiu-jitsu now. You know, winning everything, double gold, everything. And I don't see on a short term like she's losing that position. I just don't see that. By the way, she's being dominant on her matches. She pretty much control her match. She cruised through the matches.
She's the number one ranked female adult black belt in the gi, and it's by quite a good margin. And she's also going to be competing in the Europeans coming up. And she not only
Hmm.
competes at the major championships, but she also competes in a lot of open tournaments and
Yes.
does very well at all of those as well, which helps increase her ranking.
Uh, maybe one thing that we could say like, man, maybe she start do nogi tournaments as well. You know, uh, like as a new challenge. Of course, we know that some guys and girls prefer gi, and then some guys and girls prefer no gi. But I always say that if you're able to do both, you can multiply your opportunities as well. So maybe a new challenge for her would be no gi, to have more matches. We have girls there like Liz Clay, Amy Campos, like, so maybe that would be like another challenge for her. We'll see. Like she's the dominant one for sure.
Another extremely dominant athlete this year who's also undefeated as a black belt is Tynan Dalpra. Tynan won the Europeans, he won the Pans, he won his second world title this year, and he did so in very dominant fashion. He had a very high submission rate, a very high finish rate. What did you think about Tynan Dalpra's performance this year? And what did you think about his evolution as an athlete? Because he's another guy who every time he steps on the mat, it seems like he has something new that he's added to his game.
Yeah, man. Like I think Tainan Dalpra is that guy that every instructor look to him like, man, if I would like to have like a perfect athlete, I think it would be Tainan because he does all. He does all. Top, bottom, take down, like he does all. good in scrambles, good in controlling, passing outside, knee cuts, everything from the bottom, getting inverted underneath, simple sweeps, like stuff like that. He can finish on your back. He can finish from mount. He can finish on the arm. I can be talking about that. For me, really, Danny, when I'm watching China at a tournament, it's like having like a free seminar, because if you pay attention there on his matches and then having the opportunity to rewatch after, right? Uh, like IBJJF YouTube channel and then like flow grappling, all that stuff. Man, it's a lot of cool details, that he has on his matches. His evolution is impressive. He has a great coach in Guy Mendes and then Rafa as well. Uh, is another guy that like we talk about Gabi Peçanha. I think Tainan is the same thing. Like now is like what would be the challenge for him, right? Uh, I see some videos of him training Ogi, so maybe that. But I think, and then or also because he's a middleweight, so maybe Absolute would be like maybe not in a tournament right away because tournament now you have to win like 3, 4, 5 matches, right? But maybe like a super fight like his teammate Jonathan did, like against a bigger guy like Absolute. And don't have to be ultra heavy guy. Like, can you imagine him versus Felipe Andrew? Him versus Kainan Duarte, like guys that are not like ultra heavies, right? So it's not that like big difference. So I think like that's something as well that can be like a new challenge for him because I don't see him slowing down anytime. So I see him like she'll get every time that he competes, like one tournament to the other is already a different time now. So excited to see how 2023 gonna be for him and then what challenge he gonna have.
Absolutely. I think he's a guy who's always looking for new challenges, always looking to evolve his game. So I'm sure we're going to see some new and interesting stuff from him in 2023. We also got to talk about Maisa'S Bastos. She won every major gi championship this year. She definitely took on some new challenges. We saw a lot more of her passing this year. She went up to lightweight for the female GP, which was crazy. She did really well. What did you think about Maisa'S performances this year? Not just in the major gi championships, but also the other challenges that she took on throughout the year.
I remember Maisa since kids belt. And it's funny because back then, uh, people were like, "Oh, is that girl from your family?" Because Bastos, right? Like, no, it's just the same. It's just the same name. But one thing that I love about Maisa is that she doesn't hide behind her accomplishments, right? Like you said, you saw much more of her top game this year. Uh, in tournaments, she went up to light feather as well, and then on the Grand Prix up to lightweight. So she doesn't. That's what I mean. Like she doesn't hide behind her accomplishments. She always challenges herself for more. Um, it's hard and then she does gi and no gi, like she does everything, right? So it's hard to say anything that she could try do more to keep challenge herself, right? Maybe if in a world championship, like she doesn't go as a weight, maybe she go up to light feather or feather. Because in a weight, uh, for now I don't see someone that like could threaten her. Um, I love her attitude, always challenging herself. Hope she's keeping having opportunities because, for example, the Grand Prix, and then of course like she lost, but man, she was doing as a lightweight. She was doing as a lightweight. So I don't think a lot of people gonna understand what she was doing. As far as challenging herself. For me, I just said that like Gabby Pessoa is the queen, right? So my is the little queen of the jiu-jitsu. Like, can she like how she gonna do like she can do absolute in there. I'm sure she's gonna do well. I'm sure she's gonna win matches. But like, how she gonna do both gold like a major tournament? It's really hard, right? Like in one point, we'll come to the size. But I love that she keeps challenging herself. I love that she's been showing her top game just as good as the bottom because she was always known by her guard. and then her top game very aggressive as well. So it's something that's natural for her, like always attacking. So I love that for her. Like I said, I just love the attitude. And just congratulating myself for the amazing year. Looking forward for 2023. Looking forward for her to keep challenging herself and then gift us with the beautiful jiu-jitsu that she displays.
We talked about the number one ranked female adult black belt. Now we're going to have to talk about the number one adult male black belt, Felipe Andrew. He started his year 2022 in a great fashion, won double gold at the Europeans. He competes probably more than anyone. Almost every weekend he's going to an open tournament, winning double gold. He also competed nogi this year quite a bit, had some really nice footlock finishes, heel hook finishes. So he
Hmm.
adapted really well to the nogi rule set.
Yes.
What did you think about Felipe and how he did this year and just his consistency with competition?
I appreciate his consistency with competition because it's something that I preach a lot for my own competitors, right? I tell them that competitors compete. You cannot get any better at anything by not doing it, right? Like I think like it's that simple. Um, and Felipe now later on the year he dropped to heavyweight. So that's another thing as well for me. It's interesting because he could be comfortably there, like doing the same thing, but now he dropped to heavyweight, and then I think that has a lot to do with his absolute performance at Worlds, where he tapped the heavyweight champion, Canan Duarte, right? There's another standout of the year. But so I think Felipe, I think he has found home as a heavyweight, even though he hasn't competed at like a major tournament as a heavyweight yet. So I'm looking forward to see 2023 if he keep as a heavyweight and how they're gonna shake up the division because I remember we're talking about kind of on the like in previous like editions of the podcast where like I didn't see someone on the heavyweight tracking kind of well. Now we have, and then so just like I believe Felipe keep doing everything that he's doing as far as like stay consistent on the competition. Great footlocker, gi and ogi, great triangles, omoplatas, everything. Good guillotine as well in nogi. So is a kid that keeps evolving, like he's still evolving a lot. And I think if heavyweight is really his home, like I think it is, I think he's gonna make a lot of noise in 2023. Uh, of course, like keeping like trying to double gold and everything. But when it comes for the big tournaments, that I think they're gonna shake up the division quite a bit.
Let's talk about the open weight world champion, Nicholas Marigali. He's another athlete with, I think a theme of this is that all these athletes are really well rounded. These champions who had such great
Hmm.
2022s, they're great on top, they're great on bottom. Nicholas, I think what he adds is that he's also really, really great finisher. That's something he really focuses on. Great triangles, arm bars,
Hmm.
omoplatas. He finishes from a lot of different positions. And he had quite a tremendous run at the 2022 Worlds in the open class. What did you think about his run at the 2022 Worlds? And what do you just think about Nicholas and his year this year?
Oh, Nicholas is like as a character gonna be that guy that gonna bring a lot of eyes, right? Like some people don't like his attitude, say that he's arrogant and then everything. And then I think it's nice to like talk about this as well because I don't think that. I think he's just confident because he pushed the work for it, and then he really tries to finish every match, you know. But the only close, like really close match that he had were both his finals of like weight class and absolute with Eric Muniz. That I think is the one that because of the style is the one that like where he have hard time. And then of course because they have trained quite a bit at Dream Art, and then that makes the match even harder. Glad that they fought because a lot of times you're gonna see closeouts, and then so they fought, and then I think Nicholas' performance was just amazing, especially knowing that because he was open about his injury,
Mm-hmm.
and see that he performed the way he performed even with the injury. Hopefully to see him back on the scene 2023 again at Worlds. Hopefully to see him in some super fights as well, or maybe if IBJJF do a Grand Prix with bigger guys because I think there's a is a name that's gonna add a lot to the mix. I think is a name that help with numbers as well. So I think it makes sense for everybody. Um, you mentioned like triangles, like on parts all the stuff, but I really like the way he like takes the back
Yeah.
because he always like he does a lot of bow and arrows from the back. So don't gonna be the regular like shows from the back. He does a lot of bow and arrows, and then I can be wrong now because I remember that he fought Felipe at Brasileiros and at Worlds, and in one of those two, he got him on the bow and arrow. That was beautiful transition. So, anyways, looking forward to see a little bit more of Nicholas 2023. I know that he's doing like a Nogi career as well now, but looking forward to see him more in 2023 and like hopefully having him in also some super fights because they're a match for sure for him to get done with some of the bigger guys as well.
I mentioned in the intro about the GPs and how we had the female GP, we had the male medium heavy GP, we also had the absolute GP this year. So I think we have to talk about the champions of all those events. We had Kynan
Hmm.
Duarte win $40,000 in the absolute GP. We had Jenaina Lebre win the inaugural female GP, and then we had Isaac Bahiennes win the medium heavy GP. All those
Hmm.
had great years. Was there any one of those performances in particular at the GPs that really stood out to you?
Uh, ladies first, right? Ladies first. Let's go, Janaina Lebre, because it's the first female Grand Prix ever. All right, and she was the underdog. She was the only one in the Grand Prix that's not world champion yet. You know, so Maisa'S world champion, Luisa's world champion, now Rodriguez world champion. And I know that Janaina came as a replacement, right? She wasn't originally on the Grand Prix, but I remember that talking with some friends and stuff like that. I always say like, man, like uh, for me, like when I see like what I see Jiu-Jitsu now in 2022, how the other athletes perform. I don't know how gonna be the bracket, but I definitely see Janaina winning that because she was like hitting the post like a lot. It wasn't the goal, but it was the post like a lot. Man. She like always on the podium, always on the podium. She
Making
just
the
need to
final.
break through. Yes, she just
Yeah.
need to break through, right? And that came on the Grand Prix with amazing performance, um, dominant performance, right? I think one thing that I saw her say in an interview that was a was a key factor was that she didn't like respect her opponents in the sense like, oh, that girl I used to watch, that girl I used to watch. She just went and fought, and then she brought that attitude for the matches. So she brought that attitude for the matches, and that was for me was a key factor for her victory. Looking forward for 2023 for Janaína. For sure, she's gonna be doing like super fights on those Grand Prix, because she's a Grand Prix champion now. Looking forward to see how she's gonna be doing on the major tournaments, right? European, Spanish, Brasileiros, Worlds, especially Worlds because then when it comes to the gi scene, like Worlds is the Super Bowl, right? Um, she gonna have a lot of challenges this year, right? Like the current lightweight champion Fionn Daves, right? Like is there on the mix. Tata from Checkmate won everything this year, but not worlds. She won because she won Europeans. Pens Brasileiros just don't win worlds. We have new blood coming up, like Julia Alves from GF Team, Emily Fernandez from the IBJJF, that they were the final of worlds as a brown belt. They come up to the black belts already and already like winning tournaments. So we'll see how they're gonna shake up the lightweight division. But I think Janaína, even though she's not the current world champion, I think she put herself on a spot that she's the name to be beat on the lightweight division.
Yeah, we had so many other amazing performers in 2022. It's really hard to go through everyone, but some that I was just thinking about, we have Elizabeth Clay, Fionn Davis, Andressa Sintra, Natalie Hibero, Anna Carolina Vieira. Any of those names that you wanted to chat about?
uh, Man, like a lot of the girls names said, like Ana Carol Vieira. I can be wrong, but I believe was the only submission on the female divisions at a world championship. Her fifth world title. So just that itself is a lot. All right. I think she start putting herself on the Hall of Fame status, like for the future. All right. Like because for the future, because she still have a lot to go, right?
Yeah.
She's still young. She's 29. She doesn't show signs of slowing down in competition. Maybe she does, is not the name that compete every tournament, but you always can expect her at the World Championship there to win, right? She has an amazing coach on her wife, Lona Zugir. There's a Hall of Fame herself. So I think maybe they have all the ingredients to keep doing that, right? Liz Clay, besides the final of Nogi Worlds, she finished every match Nogi Pants and Nogi Worlds, double gold. So I think she's the woman to beat in Nogi now on IBJJF, right? On rule set. She's the woman to be beat. And it's not that she didn't do good at the gi, because she was always there, like on the podium, you know. But I saw an interview where she really wanna win as well in the gi because like people don't wanna ever. Sometimes like some people are okay with the label. Oh, I'm a gi person, no gi person. Some people are not, and she's not. She doesn't want to be like, oh, I'm the no gi girl, right? So I think that's very cool. She went to Brasileiro. She lost in the final. She has been in the final of Worlds. Like she been like in a lot of finals on the gi on the major tournaments. And I think kind of like what I said about Janaína. She's just gonna need a breakthrough moment. And then once she does that, um, because she has a beautiful jiu-jitsu gi as well. So I think it's like we have to talk about her. Like at Tata, you said like we mentioned like she won everything but not the gi world. So it's a girl that of course she's gonna come for that gold now in 2023. Man, it's so many names like Bia Basílio finally won
Yep.
her world championship, like and but I think and then just to end because like we can talk be talking just here for 10
Yeah.
hours to
Well,
talk
yeah,
about that.
exactly.
But Andressa Sintra, if like she was the only one that won Gia no Gi Worlds this year on the female division,
I believe
or we
so.
had because that's not easy, man. That's not easy. Like Andressa, I think is the other one that keeps cementing herself for maybe be a future Hall of Famer. Is a girl that like crazy for me. People don't talk much about. So she's already a three-time world champion again, if I'm not wrong, and now is no Gi world champion as well. Um, and maybe she's not the media favorite. I don't know. But for me, I always looking for her like man, like a girl that's always there putting on a show because she's a submission hunter. She's not like someone that goes there and just like winning matches here and there. Like she really like submission hunter, and then so I think someone that the media should talk more about. And then also I think someone that uh in a Grand Prix scenario or super fight, someone that can add a lot for the events as well. So looking forward to see more of Andres in 2023.
She had such a great submission in the final of the Nogi Worlds too. That knee bar setup was incredible.
Man, she's a submission hunter, I'm telling you.
Like you said, there's so many incredible black belt athletes that had such a great year in 2022. Those were just some of them that we went through, but congratulations to all the black belt competitors. All of them put on incredible performances, and it was really, really amazing to watch.
No, like you said, crazy, crazy. Man. Um, we can talk about like hours, like you said. But like if I can just add like one thing about another athlete would be Leandro Lo, you know, because Leandro like we unfortunately lost him this year, but his first world title 2012, right? And then 10 years later, when a lot of people didn't think he could do again, and he comes and did again, and then beating Isaac Bayense in the final, like Isaac that won over the Grand Prix. Isaac for sure, like one of the best competitors that I believe has in Jiu-Jitsu right now. I always talk about that about Isaac being one of the best competitors because since the color belts, you don't. It's very hard to beat him in a competition, right? And then like I think Low had like a standout. It was a standout on the year because of his performance at Worlds. It was one of the best performances he had because he had to, let's say, reinvent himself to come back and be able to win again. So it's hard to not having him bring the energy for us anymore in our tournaments. But it's great that the last memory gonna be that double leg victory, that little dance on the mat, celebrating with the crowd, right? That jump on the podium to get his medal, the flowers and everything. So, Lo, like we miss you, but it's awesome that the last memory that we have is that amazing performance that you had at 2022 World Championship.
Yeah, the amount of energy that he brought to the pyramid, like you said, with that double leg, with the little dance, the jump onto the podium,
Hmm.
I don't think that can be replicated. So that
Nah.
was great, beautiful words about Leandro, and yeah, we appreciate all the amazing performances he put on throughout the years on the mats.
Oh,
Let's move on to
yeah. Yes.
some of the best matches of 2022. We talked about some of the
Hmm.
athletes. We also had some incredible matches. One that we talked about before we started recording was the female GP final. We had Janaina Lebre take on Anna Rodriguez. Incredible match. Janaina started out really strong, got to a knee cup position, ended up taking the back, getting the 4 points. Anna recovered, escaped the back position, came up in Janaina's close guard, almost got a guard pass. Janaina was kind of having her foot in the lapel, just barely fending her off. That was an incredible
Hmm.
match. What are your thoughts on that one?
Man, like we spoke before, is the attitude that Janina brought to the match, and I think that caught Anna by surprise in the very beginning, right? Because it is very hard when you start off with that deficit on the points, right? Big props for Anna for being able to recover. She trains with Zach Baez, we just said, one of the best competitors period in Jiu-Jitsu. And I think she shows that on her mats as well. She has a lot of grit. She always bring a lot of intensity for the competition. But I just think like once Janaína was able to score ahead, she was very mature to cruise to the victory because it's very hard being in a situation that you didn't win a major yet, right? And then competing against world champions, and then like the Grand Prix, like it's not like a major tournament, but it's a Grand Prix tournament made by IBJJF, the first female ever. So there was like a lot on the line because 10 years from now, who was the first female Grand Prix champion? Janaína. 20 years from now, like that's on the history. So I was very impressed with her composure, like her maturity, like keeping the lead, like cruising the match, managing the match, with Anna trying to get back the whole time until the end. Was an amazing match, definitely one of the best matches of the year, and I'm glad that we both bought that more list.
Yes. Another match I think we both had on our list was Victor Hugo and Gutenberg Pereira, Ultra Heavy
Oh my
Final
god.
2022 Worlds. This match was ridiculous because both guys are incredible competitors. Victor had won his first world title in 2021. Gutenberg won the Brazilian National Open class in 2022. He was looking very, very good. And Gutenberg started the match in the best way possible. He almost got the armbar on Victor Hugo. Victor had to concede the sweep. Gutenberg, was up 2 points, and then he got double underhooks in a knee cup position. Looked like he had the match on cruise control. Victor got a pan grip on his far leg, swept, passed the guard, mounted, scored 9 points in a very short period of time, ended up winning the match. But that was an incredible match I think people were looking forward to, and it really lived up to the hype and delivered what people were
Hmm.
really expecting that it could.
Yes, man. I gonna compare that match to World Cup final. So I have my Brazil jersey here because Brazil didn't help me this year. Uh, but like, let's say like Argentina was controlling cruise control, right? And then France comes back like from in 2 minutes, boom, 2 goals, right? And I think was and then Argentina ended up winning on the penalty. But like the analogy that I make is like, man, until 8.5 minutes, nothing tells you, nothing tells you that Gutenberg wasn't going to win the match. He has the point lead, the advantage lead, the position, like everything was perfect for him. And Vitor Hugo just didn't give up. And then like people always gonna tell like, oh, never give up on this and that, like, oh. But really, like the easiest thing that you have, like in a situation like that, like man, like well, guess what? Only next year now. And he really fought the way out of the bad position. And not only that, he came after because he ended up winning by points, but he tried to finish. He tried to finish, you know. And I say that comparison Pete and Hunter's hunt. And Victor, he was hunting. He was hunting. Gutenberg had an amazing year. Like he won Brazilian's Open Class, got the final fours, got the final of the Absolute Grand Prix. You know, is a guy that for sure is like knocking there to win the world championship. But Vitor wanna make sure that this year was still gonna be his year. Uh, Incredible comeback performance, not just the performance, like the comeback performance, because it's very hard to be on that situation and come back. So in a final four championship, very few human beings in the world are going to be able to say that they did that. So amazing performance by Gutenberg, amazing performance and heart for Vitor Hugo to come back and win. Man, probably the comeback of the year.
Absolutely. I know you had some other matches that we talked about before we started recording that you wanted to bring up.
Hmm.
Do you want to start with some of those?
Yeah, so I talk about Leandro and Isaac because I was talking
Yep.
about Leandro, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that match itself was really good match. Uh, Low courage to because like yeah, he's a double leg guy. He was a double leg guy, right? Like that, like amazing double leg that he had. But Isaac is well known by his like deadly guillotine, you know. So the timing, like if you watch the match again, the timing of the double leg, how he makes his exact steps, and as his exact stepping, he changed the level for the double leg. It was so perfect because Zach didn't even have time to try to get anything there, you know. So it's just like details like that inside the match, and then how Leon was able to manage the match with Isaac fighting the whole time. You know, I think and with the circumstances because again, like 10 years later, winning his eighth world title, after like a lot of people like, man, Leandro's there, but like, oh, he's gonna win again. Like fan favorite always. All people always rooting for him. But the truth is, I think when you look at the bracket at Worlds and like just like by facts analysis, you'd say that who would win of the semifinal between Gustavo Batista and Zach Baez should be the champion. I think that's what people like. Just like no heart involved, right? Just the analysis. And for me to Leandro be able to put the performance that he put, and with what Isaac performing as well, for me because Isaac like he had like a flawless performance into the final. Like because like how many people have you seen beat Gustavo Batista as a black belt?
Not many.
Like especially his weight class,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then Isaac did that and did that convincingly, you know. So I think that's like elevates even more like the performance that Leandro had. So I think that match was for sure the match of the year, and with all the energy as well because Isaac has his crown over there, and then Leandro has the rest of the arena for him, right? Because now like it's the idol over there. So I think the whole atmosphere that involved the match and the details on the match itself, that's what like makes that one of the matches of the year for sure.
Definitely. Any other matches you wanted to highlight before we moved on to some of our favorite submissions?
For me, man, I think yeah, no, that like if you talk, like a match that I saw that a lot of people not talking about, maybe because it was on the side of the two Lovato matches against Herbert Santos and then Lovato getting the victory, and then against Guilherme from Aliança, where Lovato finished on his back with one hook in, wasn't able to score, and then Guilherme ended up moving to the Sunday. And then I'm just mentioned that because we talk about the standouts, but I didn't mention Lovato. and I think we have to mention him because of those match performance at Worlds, plus winning the European earlier on the year. So and then his farewell, like his last dance at Worlds, right? So it's important to mention that Jiu-Jitsu icon, one of the best to ever do that. Jiu-Jitsu legend overall, but for American Jiu-Jitsu, he is for sure a key factor on the growth of jiu-jitsu. Like people are looking up to him, like because it's. I always say that you need someone to look up to when you're coming up on the in any sport, right? Like who you want to be like, And then I think Lovato was that perfect story for a guy from a little town with no jiu-jitsu around growing up, and then having to travel with his dad, and then all the way to meet like Saulo and Shanji, and then join Ribeiro Jiu Jitsu, and now like with his own association, huge association, part of Six Baseball having his own association. And man, Master Shu, right? But winning as adult is always good to see.
Yeah, he had such an amazing career, world champion. I remember when he won the open class at the Brasileiros, that was an incredible moment for him as well. So
Hmm.
congrats to Lovato on an absolutely tremendous gi career, gi and no gi jiu-jitsu career. He did so great.
Exactly, exactly. So I would say just those two matches because I think it was the last two matches of him at Worlds that were great matches, and then like I forgot to put on the standouts. So my apologies, Lovato. But now I made up, and then man, congratulations on your career.
Let's move on to some of our favorite submissions. This first one was one that we both immediately jumped on. It was Oliver Taza versus Francisco Lowe. Francisco Lowe won the Brazilian Nationals this year as a brown belt, got promoted to black belt. He's a medium heavyweight athlete. He fought Oliver Taza in the first round of the Pan No Gi, and Oliver was sitting up playing guard, and Francisco jumped to a triangle, ended up rolling to his back, finishing with an armbar. And it was just one of the most quick, explosive, fast, and unexpected submissions that we saw all year. So let me hear your thoughts on that submission.
Uh, is being there and watching that live like was insane. Because it was like everyone that was like, what? It was that whoa moment,
Yep.
right? Like what? um, Tarza sits up, like putting the hand forward, right, like to create distance, and then low, perfectly timing that moment to jump over to a triangle. Man, it was so on point. Was so on point. If he was on the military, he would be a sniper. For one shot, you have one shot. Man, that was it. Was for me, gi and no gi, like overall, it's hard to say that's not the submission of the year because of the perfection, like of the movement and how was displayed and in a major tournament and just move brown to black belt. But Tarza well known, very good no-gi competitor, doing good on the BJF circuit, and was the favorite for the match. Was the favorite for the match. And then I think Francisco Lowe on that moment is like, hey, I'm here, I have arrived.
Yeah, not only was Taza having a good year and a good moment and probably favored in the match, he was one of the favorites of the division too. Manuel Hibamar
Exactly.
ended up winning, but Taza, he's been competing in a lot of no-gi events this year. He's always been one of the best no-gi competitors in his weight division,
Hmm.
and that I think added to the gravity and the importance of that submission and how impressive it was.
And 100%. So like I would say that Francisco Lowe flying triangle or Oliver Tarza would be like the submission of the year. But like we're gonna mention another submissions that were great as well, great and crazy on the circumstances they were applied, right?
Exactly. Let's talk about a crazy one. We had Peter Frank. He won double gold Master 2 at the Master Worlds this year. In his middleweight final, he ended up pulling guard. He pulled his opponent's lapel out and started wrapping it around his neck. This was a submission I hadn't seen before. I don't know if you have, but then
Hmm.
the way he was able to configure the lapel around his opponent's neck, walk his legs up, and he finished while his opponent had him. His opponent was standing, and Peter had the guard
Hmm.
closed with the lapel wrapped around his neck. Kind of hard to describe in words. You're gonna have to go back and watch it to really appreciate it. But what do you think about that match? And just Peter as well this year was another standout. Had so many great submissions
Hmm.
and But let's talk about that one in particular.
I think it's important to mention Peter because like the whole Masters division, is filled of like great athletes. All right, a lot of legends of the sport as well. Right, you're gonna see guys, Megaton, Godoy, like competing like all the time, or like on like is people always stopping to watch their matches, right? Like Rafael Formiga. Well, I could just go going on here, right? Um, and but I think is nice to bring Peter when we talk about submission of the year because he's a guy that you will not see a boring match. he he's a
That's for
guy
sure.
that he step on the mat, he step on the mat, you stop to watch the match because man, what he gonna do? He's that type of guy. And to pull that off in a final of Master Worlds, and then you ask if I haven't seen that before, and then like in training, yes. In a tournament, I don't remember to see that. And then like in a final of a major tournament, man, you have to be Peter to do that. You have to be Peter to do that. So definitely one of the crazier moments of the year, and then like crazy on the sense of amazing, right? But crazy because you're gonna see like Oliver Tarzan. You've seen that before, people jumping over, like not what Peter did. So I think that is something that we have to mention, and then like cannot wait for 2023 to see what more new great craziness Peter gonna bring to the match.
He probably had 3 or 4 submissions this year that we could have included, to be honest.
Yes, yes, no, he's like man, he's all over. And then again, is a guy that I think is a guy that for sure, if you have opportunity to be in a super fight on a BJF like Grand Prix events, is a guy that bring attention because is a guy that again once he steps on the mat, you stop to watch. Like you stop to watch because like man, what he gonna do on this one? What he gonna do on this one? And then like maybe sometimes like he wins most of the times, but when he loses because he's trying to do like crazy stuff. Like so I think he's a guy that very good competitor and great entertainer. And then I think that's important to have on the events as well.
What was another submission that stood out to you in 2022?
Man, I separate uh two arm bars here that for me were crazy and two footlocks that were crazy. All right. The arm bars, one was Tainan Dalpra on Tommy Langecker at the Europeans. How Tainan exposed the back to move to the back with jumping over and then setting up already the arm bar, flipping Tommy, and then finishing man like and then like Tommy like is very durable. Is not a guy that gonna tap, right? Like when and then he had no way out. It's just no way out. The armbar was so perfect. The whole setup, the whole sequence, the whole everything is like almost like you're watching a person doing a drill. Like it was amazing the way Tainan did. And then Mika Galvão, Sérgio Túlio, final of Brasileiros. Mika's mount on Sérgio tried to find the way out of the submission of the mount, and then Mika doesn't hold the wrist. He just like cover the arm with his armpit, and then allow Seth to come up, but comes up like laying on the arm bar that he didn't even have time to tap. He had to yell. Like was so perfect as well. It was like those two armbar submissions for me were very nice because you're gonna learn how to do armbar from the mount, armbar from the back. It's showing your beginner of jiu-jitsu. But how many people are gonna see do that in a high level? Because people say that's like basic technique, right? But it's really hard to do in a high level. It's really hard to do in a high level. So I think against who they were competing in a final of major tournaments, that like has to be added. All right. And the two foot lock submission that I put was one was Andy on Igor now at a final of no gi worlds. like when he go to like to the fake rip and then gets like the leg entry and then like spin all the way to the inverted heel hook, and it was like crazy how Andy did that.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yes, and then we didn't even mention him, but for sure another one of competitor of the year.
Yeah.
And also Felipe Angel on Kainan Duarte. Uh, I believe was quarterfinal of the Absolute, and then Kainan wrestle up in a single leg, and then they fighting for the takedown for a moment, and then Kainan finally gets the takedown, stepping over his leg, but Felipe used that moment to get underneath Kainan, leg entry for a 50-50 position, and then he didn't attack the foot or the 50-50, he attacked the other foot. And then like again, Kainan, no, he didn't even have time to tap. He just yelled. And then I didn't, even though he won awards, for me that compromised his performance because then he came back in later like foot all tape up, and then he was able to make like happen the other guys for him in the division. But like Felipe compromised his foot there for sure. And then what was a crazy submission. Felipe is another one that's a sniper. He's always like when he bites, like I like to say bites the submission, he's a guy that you don't have much time to tap, you know. So those two like foot locks, the Andy inside heel hook, and then Philip Angel like straight foot lock, because the circumstances as well in like in a world championship, Andy Nogi World's final, and then Philip quarters final of the absolute. I think that like have to put them as well on the like best submission of the year.
Yeah, we saw so many incredible submissions, and I think with the way jiu-jitsu is evolving, we're probably going to see even more in 2023.
Yeah, man. Then I start Jiu-Jitsu 1990, right? So like I'm gonna complete 33 years now, 2023, and is for me is like incredible how Jiu-Jitsu year after year keep evolving, how the athletes keep evolving, which means the structures keep evolving, you know. So is the whole like community like overall you're gonna see like here we're talking about like best of the year, like we mentioned like a lot of black belts, right? But go at punk kids, sit on the stands, and then watch. Like I don't want to say on the gray belts, but when you go like yellow belts and up, the kid's gonna be doing something like what he did, like what she did, like crazy. Like my children, like they do jiu-jitsu. Like João is yellow belt, Maria is a gray belt. They're 9 and 7. They do some stuff already that like I look like man. Nah, I was like orange belt, green belt, like 13, 14, 15 years old, and I wasn't doing that. And they're only 9 and 7 years old, and that's how crazy it is. The kids have so much access today. Is I think that's one of the reasons why it's just evolves so much because you can literally study every day, and try to put on tests already, like on the same day when you go to practice, all right, and then start repeating and then start drilling and drilling with resistance and drilling with reactions, and then all right, trying to do on the rounds, and then like next thing you know, you're already doing in a tournament. So there is no limit, man. There is no limit. There is no limit, and then I really love that about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of my favorite things about the sport, and a lot of other people's favorite thing is just how it grows and evolves every year and how it's different. It looks different in 2022 than it did in 2002.
No, 100%, man. Yeah. If we're gonna go on that, we can do a podcast just on that route, like how comparing just like eras by eras, man, because it is insane, like how the difference of the dynamic of the matches, you know, like blue belts, purple, brown, blacks, how kid jiu-jitsu was, how it is now, how some techniques were illegal now are legal, or some things that were legal now are illegal, and because all that changed as well, the dynamic of the match, right? So maybe that's the idea, a podcast about difference of the eras of jiu-jitsu.
That would be fun. Let's move on to one final topic for 2022. I think it was really important to acknowledge the Hall of Fame inductees this year. We had Andre Galvao, we had Bia Mesquita, we had Lucas Lepre, Bernardo Faria, Guy Mendes, and Rafa Mendes all be inducted into the Hall of Fame at the 2022 World Championships. Thoughts
Hmm.
on this Hall of Fame class and just the Hall of Fame in general, how it's such a prestigious group of competitors and adding these amazing athletes to
So quoting Bernardo Faria, huge honor for me
it.
to be talking about them. Uh, I think, man, like André, first world title was 2006, maybe. I don't know, like, anyways, like all the way to the last one, 2015. So like 10 years, like span, like um, Bernardo, man, a guy that brings so much for the jiu-jitsu community as well. Um, Lucas Lepre winning his first world title in 2007, and then taking till 2014, I think, to win again. But once he won again, and then went on a run that because like he won very first like year as a black belt, and then after that like podium, 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 but not winning, right? And then once he click again, and then like man, people had no chance against him for like years. Like I remember he goes like sometimes because he didn't compete only world, so he would compete Europeans, like pairs, like maybe open here and there, and then like had years that nobody scored anything on him. When I say anything, like I mean not even a single advantage. How you compete on that level without people score even a single advantage on you? And it's not like match where like nothing happened, like we just like get an advantage and then you hold. No, like he like tried to finish every single match. I think his dominance on the sport and then what he brings to the community as well, sharing his knowledge with his students all over doing seminars. It's a great guy, like all those great guys. Guy and Rafa, especially Rafa, like in Brazil, we call him Bruxo, right, which means wizard. Like man, like they revolutionized jiu-jitsu first with techniques, and then after with their school. That now, like you seeing like people that started as a kids winning an adult black belt division. So that's a model for a lot of people. The way they approach the sport, and then to finish, Bia Mesquita because the lady goat. you know. Um, I know that like everyone gonna have your favorite, but I think Bia really is the best competitor of all times because she is a girl that she won absolute, but that a lot of times she lost on the size difference as well. And then like man, she could be like 15, 16 time world champion, you know. Um, the girl that always look for the finish, a girl that is she competing now? Like she said that she's going to MMA, right? So and I hope that career goes well for her because she's gonna be representing us over there. A girl that won Gi and Ogi world titles. I remember one of her against Baby Vieira no Gi Worlds. Man, it was a crazy match. I want to say 2018 or 19, something like that. It was a crazy match that they had. I remember last year at Worlds, man, 2-2, lost by one advantage to Gabi Peçanha. But Gabi Peçanha is super heavy. She's a lightweight. Like man, like that's what I'm saying. Like, and then she always brought. So I'm really happy that I think she's a great representative of the women in Jiu-Jitsu. I'm glad that we have her in the Hall of Fame, and then those guys, Gui, Rafa, Andrea, Bernardo, Lucas, because they all represent the Jiu-Jitsu very well.
Bruno, we covered a lot today. We went over some of the standout competitors, best matches, best submissions, Hall of Famers, some of the best events. Next year is just around the corner. We got 2023 kicking off with a bang. We got the Europeans, which start on January 23rd. Then we have the IBJJF Flow Grappling Grand Prix, March 3rd. And then we have the Pan Ams, which kick off on March 21st. So we're going right
Mhm.
into a new year, hitting the ground running. And I think it's going to be an incredible year. 2022 was great. And I think that's an indicator for how amazing 2023 is going to be.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you. I think 2022 was the first normal year after pandemic, right? And I think now that everything is normal, and then 2023 I think the way I see it's gonna be a better year as far as bigger numbers and more quality as well, because like different parts of the world is coming back to normality, like in different times, right? So I think 2023 gonna be like even better than 2022, with the world now living more like a normal life.
Definitely. Thank you again, Bruno. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you guys all have a great holiday season, and we'll see you in 2023. Thanks again.
So